for rising Filipino prospect Bernabe Concepcion against Adam Carrera of California. And you see the 5-year age gap. Concepcion still only 20 years old, though he began his boxing career in his middle teens. A 2-inch height advantage for Carrera. Arm length advantage of a 1/2 inch measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. They both weighed in within a couple of pounds of the 122-pound weight limit for the junior featherweight division, and tonight both have rehydrated up about 9 or 10 pounds prior to entering the ring, according to our unofficial HBO scale. Rules of the bout with our ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Bernabe Concepcion Adam Carrera fight is scheduled for 10 rounds using the rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case it is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 10th and final round. Jim.
All right, thank you, Harold. Momentarily, I'll be calling the fight from ringside with Emmanuel Stewart and Max Kellerman. Right now, let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight, Bob Arum's Top Rank Boxing is proud to present an evening of world-class professional boxing for your entertainment. These bouts are sponsored by Tecate, Cerveza with Attitude, Rums of Puerto Rico, Reebok, and Universal Pictures motion picture Death Race. In theaters everywhere, April 22nd. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman John Bailey, Executive Director Keith Kaiser, Commissioners Skip Avancino Jr., Bill Brady, TJ Day, and Pat Lundville. Physicians in attendance are Doctors William Berliner, Rodney Corson, Michael Enrico, and Stephen Leibowitz. Timekeepers counting for the knockdown seconds at the bell, James Cavan and Ernie Howdegay. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring this bout, this first contest, are Eric Cheek, Dwayne Ford, and Glenn Trowbridge. And inside the ring, your referee in charge of the action, Joe Cortez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds of boxing. This is in the super bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing green and white, official weight 123 1/2 pounds. His professional record, 19 victories, including 8 by knockout, with 3 defeats from Cathedral City, California. Here's Adam El Torito Carrera. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing black and gold, official weight 124 pounds. His professional record, 25 victories, including 14 knockouts, only 1 defeat with 1 bout even. From Rizal, Philippines, Bernabe, the real Concepcion.
Torito. Concepcion. All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. Any fouls, any intentional fouls, there's no warnings. Give me a clean fight. Que Dios lo bendiga, and God bless you. Good luck to both of you.
Concepcion's people are trying to brand him the next Manny Pacquiao. In over 100 years of Marquis of Queensberry rules, there's been 1 Manny Pacquiao. Unlikely there'll be 2 fighting at the same time, but he is from the Philippines and he can punch.
The next Manny Pacquiao is becoming one of those labels like the next Michael Jordan. You're not sure after a while that you want to hear it about yourself, but Concepcion does have one Pacquiao-like advantage, which is the presence of Freddie Roach in his corner. And in a division filled with hard punchers, Emmanuel, he has a very strong-looking body.
It's amazing. I'm looking at all of these small fighters with these big knockout records. Almost 80-90% of their fights have been winning by knockout. But Concepcion, I think, is one of the best punchers in the smaller divisions.
Has a grin on his face. as he circles looking for offensive opportunities against Adam Carrera.
What's interesting, too, with a lot of these small guys who are big punchers, they have very good defense in addition, which you don't appreciate as much because they punch so well.
Carrera comes from Cathedral City, California. And one red flag sticks out when you look at Carrera's record, which is that at age 25 and 22 fights into his career, he has already had 4 California or Nevada medical suspensions. So he's had injury problems in his career, and that makes it hard to get back onto the same page with, for instance, a rising prospect like Concepcion. Concepcion doesn't have one of those records that bristles with all knockouts. He always has only 14 knockouts among his 25 wins, but in recent fights, knockouts in 3 of the last 4, as he's been fighting slightly more prominent fighters who will challenge him.
Like a lot of the fighters that's coming from Mexico and from the Philippines, a lot of the Philippine fighters didn't have a big amateur boxing background. Most of their time was in kickboxing and things of that nature. So they really have learned to fight as a professional fighter without having a big amateur background.
And when you turn pro at 16, you don't have your man bones yet. You're a boy fighting men. Not only does it result in early losses oftentimes, as is the case with Concepcion, but it will affect your knockout rate. As you get older and grow into your body, a young prospect like Concepcion will knock more guys out, and that's what happened with him.
Interestingly, early in the fight, it appears to me that Carrera has been beating Concepcion to the punch when they're in the center of the ring. When they drift toward the ropes, the Filipino fighter gets more confidence. There he sticks his jab into Carrera's face.
You can see the difference in the power when Concepcion punches, but he doesn't punch that often enough, and as a result, could possibly be in the danger of losing this round, even though he shows the style that he is a better fighter, but he may be losing this round still.
Carrera sticking his jab and showing resolution as round 1 comes to a close. We mentioned that Carrera had been throwing more punches, seemingly beating Concepcion to the punch, but he wasn't able to land many of them. According to CompuBox, only 5 out of 56, while Concepcion was 11 out of 33, including 9 of 14 power shots. So the rippling muscles of the Filipino fighter giving him the opportunity to land more power punches in the first round.
And Jim, he has a tremendous sledgehammer left jab to Concepcion. When he lands his left jab, it's better than most guys. We see that most guys' right hand punch. Very powerful straight left jab.
What jumps out at me about Concepcion physically are his calves. They're huge. And maybe
he's from the Philippines. All of them are like that.
I mean,
now this is something we see that has to do with the kickboxing background that Emmanuel mentioned. And, you know, it's a feature you see in Manny Pacquiao, Ray Batista, virtually all of the star quality fighters who come from the Philippines have power in their legs. There's a good body shot inside by Bernabe Concepcion. Adam Carrera is trained by his father, and you heard him encouraging his son between rounds.
Even though maybe Concepcion has the most talent in this fight, Carrera is fighting a very determined fight, and you know anything could happen in this fight. It would not surprise me.
Earlier this year against Juan Ruiz, Concepcion also started slowly and looked as though he was going to be out hustled, only to take over the fight as he entered the middle rounds.
Good body shot and a left hook upstairs by Concepcion.
Yep, and Carrera came right back with a tail end punch at the end of it. Maybe not as powerful, maybe not as flashy, but his determination is there, and his focus and intensity is probably making up for his lack of talent.
Absolutely.
Every time that Concepcion lands a punch, Carrera comes right back and prevents him from getting a real good momentum to going.
Right hand over the top by Carrera, drives Concepcion back out into the ropes. Concepcion still fighting with that little grin on his face as Carrera puts him in a corner and sticks another right hand. Hard right hand inside on a counter shot by Carrera. Throwing more punches again in this round than Bernabe Concepcion.
Time. Okay. All right. Let's work that body. Good job. Let's work that jab a little bit more for you, okay? Just double that jab up, okay? All right. You landed one, okay? Two's there for you. Double jab and that right hook, your body's working well, okay? Make that button.
Careful with his uppercuts. But you're taking the fight. It's good. Throw your combinations. Throw your combinations. Go in and out quickly. Catch him. Come on, close. 45.
CompuBox numbers in round 2 very similar to those in round 1 in the sense that Carrera threw more punches, 59 to only 39 for Concepcion, but Concepcion landed more punches, 16 to 10 for Carrera by CompuBox count.
Well, looking at the eyes of Concepcion, I think he has a lot more respect for Carrera than he had when the fight first started. Even though he may be winning, I see a little sense of worry setting in his eyes. Carrera.
Carrera comes from Cathedral City, California, out in the desert. We've seen some determined fighters from the desert before, including Antonio Diaz, who had a fight several years back with Antonio Margarito, whom we're going to see in the main event later on this evening. Concepcion seems a little bit more interested in working to the body. Freddie Roach was asking for double jabs. Concepcion using his footwork now to try to get inside on Carrera and slip past that long jab.
Yeah, you see, talking about his calves earlier, it's not just normal footwork. He's springing into punching range and then springing out.
I've been amazed at his footwork and his balance. You know, he's not just a puncher, but he moves very good upper body movement and moves very well on his legs, in and out.
Hard right hand puts Carrera on his knee. And it was the footwork that both of you were talking about that created the opportunity for that punch. And just as Max Kellerman described it, he sprung into position to launch the punch and shocked Carrera from close range.
The hand speed and the foot speed is really a problem for Carrera trying to deal with Concepcion. Not just his punching power, just he moves in and out, punches from all kind of angles, and you really can't anticipate where the punches come. Like the uppercut.
Brilliant right uppercut, and Carrera goes down again on a punch he couldn't possibly have seen.
No way. It was the first uppercut probably he saw through in the whole fight. It's over.
This is going to be called off by Joe Cortez.
Great call by
A
Joe
spectacular third-round knockout for Bernabe Concepcion, who literally sprang into position to throw 2 or 3 shocking power punches. We may be seeing the development of a new style of fighting, actually.
And I'm glad to see that, because most of these small guys today have no footwork or rhythm at all. They just punch. This was an exception right here. Punching and moving all at the same time.
The question when you see a prospect is there something out of the ordinary here? Is there something worth tuning in to see? And I think the answer here is a resounding yes.
Concepcion closing the show, landing 9 of 15 power shots. You've seen the power, speed, and dynamism of Manny Pacquiao. Clearly, with Freddie Roach in the corner, that's the model on which Concepcion is working. If anything, he's even more creative than Pacquiao in the way in which he creates these power shot opportunities.
That was a beautiful right hand after he slipped the jab and came over. Carrera didn't do anything wrong. He just did. He slipped it and he was on the blind side. He couldn't even see it because of his own shoulder in the way.
Talk about a short power punch.
That was the first knockdown. Now here's the second.
And here you see a punch that he hasn't thrown the entire fight. a right uppercut thrown inside of a wide left head punch, which is very unusual.
Thrown with violent intentions and tremendous force.
And still in such great balance and position.
Carrera even able to get off one right hand before he fell, but then getting to his feet at about the 9 count. Clearly unable to continue. A good stoppage by Joe Cortez. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 2 minutes, 14 seconds of round number 2. The winner by TKO victory. He's from Azal in the Philippines. Bernabe, the real deal, Concepcion.
The smile gets a little bit broader and more expansive, but he wore it throughout the 3 rounds en route to the stunningly effective knockout of a pretty good-looking opponent in Adam Carrera. Final CompuBox numbers, and you'll see that Carrera was the higher volume puncher, but Concepcion made his count, landing 40% of his total punches, including those bombs for which he sprung into position in round 3. 60% of his power shots. By and large, in this game, when CompuBox numbers say that you've landed 60% of your power shots, you have either scored a knockout or a stunningly dominant victory.